Hey YouTube, what's up? So here I am, fourth video, completely out of ideas about how to make this about Andrew Yang or anything like that. And I think the first three were like reaching pretty hard. So maybe we're gonna take this about this channel is gonna be about being inspired by like a great leader or someone in your life to do what you're passionate about. That's what this is. This is me, as bad as it is, doing something that I want to do despite how afraid I am of what people might think of me and how I'll be perceived and what it might mean for me, to maybe that you might do the same. You might go do the thing that you've always wanted to do. And so I don't know really how to do that or what that looks like, but I do have some stories that I could share, and I think the very first one that I'd like to share is kind of the very first time I left home, or like when I began kind of traveling, or when I realized that I wanted to go to these places and I could get there on my own. And so I was living in Valparaiso, Indiana, with this prostitute, escort, maybe that's the right word. But anyway, we didn't have sex, and I only stayed with her for like 2 or 3 weeks. But we got into an argument in Maryville, in front of the Value City, and I just got out of the car and started walking down the street. And somebody picked me up and took me back to Valpo. I grabbed my bag and I kept going down 30 to Fort Wayne, Indiana, a place I'd never been, but I'd heard about. And so it's like 5 o'clock at night. It's February. No food, no water, no cell phone, anything, no money. And I'm just walking down the side of the street, and really the highway, if you don't know, Route 30. And so there's maybe 18 inches of room on the side of the road where you can walk, and it's dark out at this point, and just semis are coming by. And if I would have reached my arm out, it would have ripped my arm off. And maybe they're coming by once every 30 seconds, once every minute. And just my anxiety and just fear of, oh, I've never done this before. And so many hours later, I don't know how long it was, but I threw my jacket down on the ground, and because there's like all these rocks and glass and all this on the side of the highway, and I get down on my knees and I prayed for the very first time. And I don't remember specifically what I said, but it was something like, Jesus, prayed to Jesus, if you're real, I need you to send a car. I need you to send somebody to pick me up. And I remember looking up at the sky and seeing the stars, and then just like turning my head to the side, fully expecting just a car to pull up right there in that moment, and some glowing light, and just get in and be able to go to sleep, and they just take me where I needed to go. And I waited like 10 seconds, and then nobody showed up, nobody came, and I was like, oh well, that's fake. Obviously, I knew Jesus wasn't real. I'm stupid. I can't believe I just did that. Picked up my coat and started walking, and it's maybe like a day and a half later. I think I was in Warsaw. I had made it to Warsaw, Indiana, which is, I'm not sure how far it is from where I started, but a good distance. And a couple ended up picking me up and dropping me off in downtown Fort Wayne. When the time I got there, I was wearing these $1 flip-flops from Dollar General. This is what I was wearing, and I'd walked holes in them, and the bottom of my feet were just bleeding. And I ended up at the Fort Wayne Rescue Mission, where I met a lot of cool people, but I guess, and I was trying to like get sober, and I was staying there like a part of their like work program, and I'm like 21 years old, but I'm still getting high, and somehow getting away with it. And I got kicked out, not because I was getting high, even though that I was, and they just like weren't drug testing me on the right days. but because I had a bad attitude or something, and I ended up sleeping next to the St. Mary's River in Fort Wayne all summer. And so at the Fort Wayne Rescue Mission, like on different nights of the week, different church groups or whatever would come and like hand out clothes or food, or just like different outreach programs or whatever they called it. And on Wednesday nights, this one church came, and the women are part of this church, like one specific one happened to be like banging. She was sexy. And so I would always go there because I wanted to talk to her. She was smart. And here, this guy's in my YouTube video too. But anyway, so what was I just saying? Oh, so I would just go on Wednesday nights to go see her, go talk to her. And then on Thursdays, these Franciscan friars, who were like good friends of mine as well, I really liked them, would come on Thursdays. But this night, for whatever reason, on a Wednesday, we're jumping ahead like a couple of months. It would definitely, the story doesn't make any sense, but it is one story. And so I'm sleeping next to the river, and I go there to get the snacks or whatever. And I'm still lying to everybody about using drugs and alcohol, and, kind of putting up a really good front about what I'm doing and stuff like that. And I'm walking along the back of the mission, and I get to the corner and I see everybody, and it was like I hit a brick wall. I swear, it felt like I hit a brick wall. And I'll preface this with, I had just smoked a joint. Okay, let's see. Does this look better right here? I don't know, anyway. So I just smoked a joint, and I was going over to get these snacks and lie to all these Christian people about what I was doing or whatever. And so hit this brick wall, and I stop. Hit this brick wall, and I gotta walk back, and I see if there's one. Like, do you know the little things that are at the end of parking spots, like the little concrete things? I don't know what those are called. Somebody comment, tell me what those are called. And so I sit down on one, and I start to cry, because I don't even know why, but I just did. And it's gonna sound crazy, it's gonna be unbelievable, but I heard, and I gotta do the hand motions. I hope you guys can still, let's see if I can get the mic right here, but there was, it sounded, it came from the sky. It was like a trap door almost, like just picture in your mind, like just a little square up in the sky. Somebody just like let down one of those attic doors or something and was yelling down. But it was whispered in my ear. And I knew it was coming from the sky because like I could just hear where it was. And you could tell that it was beyond where it was coming from. But as soon as it got to like the sky, it just reached out and just filled up everything that it could fill up. But it was whispered in my ear. And this voice that I swear it wasn't in my head, and it said, "Why haven't you done what I've called you to do?" Which is fix your glasses. Jesus. But no, so why haven't you done what I've called you to do? And I went inside, or actually I stood there and I cried harder for a little bit while longer. Stood up, felt better, wasn't really stoned anymore, walked around the corner, went and lied to all those people about, not anything specifically, but just about who I was and what my intentions were, and, how I represented myself as somebody that I really wasn't. And, felt fine, didn't feel guilty about it or anything, and went back to living my life, and continued to use drugs and alcohol and manipulate and lie to people to get what I wanted, for a good long while after that. And then I think that's the end of the story, because I guess there's maybe more to it and more that happened afterwards, but I'm not trying to like evangelize anybody or anything. I just wanted to tell that story. That was the very first time that I left home, the first prayer I had prayed, the kind of the beginning of the walk of me kind of growing up and becoming who I am today, and seeing the world as I see it, and being influenced by the things that I've been influenced, kind of all started right there in a really big way. And so I think a part of what this channel for me is going to be kind of like an autobiography. Like, there's definitely some keystone moments that I'd like to share, and just moments that I'd like to capture of myself and stories. So this is one. This is the first one. This is my first story time video. The time that I maybe hallucinated God's voice coming from the sky asking me, why haven't I done what I've called you to do? Which, anyway, we could have a big long discussion about that joke. But leave a comment. Didn't subscribe, like this video. Do you have any supernatural weird stories that if you told someone else they wouldn't believe? Comment. Let me know.